Girl Boss Radio is brought to you by MoneyMind, a new podcast from Prudential. Learn how to financially plan for every stage of life. Download and subscribe to MoneyMind wherever you find your podcasts and learn more at slate.com/moneymind. And by ShipStation. Selling online has never been easier. Try ShipStation free for 30 days by going to ShipStation.com and get an additional month free when you use offer code GIRLBOSS. Girl Boss Radio is also brought to you by Tracker, a coin-sized device that locates misplaced keys, wallets, bags, computers, anything in seconds. Get 30% off your entire order by going to thetracker.com and using promo code GIRLBOSS.
Hey guys, this is Laura Mayer. I'm the Director of Production here at Panoply. And before we get to the show, I want to ask you an important favor. Here at Panoply, we're trying to learn more about our podcast listeners, that's you guys. We want you to tell us about the podcasts that you enjoy and how often you listen to them. So, we created a survey that takes just a couple of minutes to complete. If you fill it out, you'll help Panoply make great podcasts about the things that you love and things you didn't even know you loved. To fill out the survey, just go to panoply.fm/survey, or you can click the link we provided in the show notes for this episode. That's panoply.fm/survey, or click the link in the show notes. Thanks.
Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Girl Boss Radio from Panoply. It's me, Sophia Amoruso, your host, the founder of Nasty Gal, the author of the New York Times bestselling book Girl Boss, and the author of Nasty Galaxy, a real pretty book that just dropped on bookshelves and hopefully the front table of bookstores 2 days ago. So you can go out and grab your copy now. I'm currently on a book tour. Over the next couple weeks, I'm going to be in Los Angeles, San Francisco, New York, Brooklyn, Austin, and Coral Gables, Florida. These events are going to be really fun, and I'm excited to meet everybody and to share this book with you. On Girl Boss Radio, I interview a different woman each week who has done something astonishing. We tell her story from the beginning of her career, her first job, and extract advice along the way to share with you and for me to selfishly apply to my own life. Today's guest is Yesi Ortiz, someone that I have been really excited to have on the podcast for so long. Yesi grew up with an overwhelming passion for music. Her favorite radio station was Power 106 in Los Angeles from a time before she could even remember. One day she was listening to the station, she heard an ad for a broadcasting school, and that was all it took for her to enroll. Through sheer hustle and tenacity, Yesi found a way to fulfill her dream of being part of the Power 106 brand. And that meant moving to different states and different countries to get there in the process. What makes her even more of a girl boss is what she's done outside of work. Off the air, Yesi is a single mother to her 6 children, who were all adopted from their biological mother, who is Yesi's sister. And this happened when she was 25 years old. She is such an inspiration, and I'm so thrilled to have Yesi in the studio today. Yesi, thank you so much for being here.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
I've been trying to get you on the podcast for so long, and it's finally happened. And your story is so inspiring, like so cool.
Your story is just as cool. So I'm honored and like amazed. Like, oh, there's Sophia.
No.
There she is.
So I start every podcast with the same question, which is, what was your first job? Because we all have a start. And I think it's really interesting to hear where people begin, because we like to celebrate where people are and their accomplishments, and nobody really knows like what it takes to get there. And
right.
That's, a big part of what we like to explore on this podcast. So.
And I love that question, because it's like no one really ever asks it. Like it in general, it's always like, oh, well, what did you do before this? It's like, no, where did you get your start? How did your work ethics come into play at what early age? I love that, because it's the root of everything of who you are.
Totally.
So I started babysitting at like 12 years old. So I was like, always hungry for trying to work and get money. So babysitting was like the thing, right? But at 14 is when I really started working in an environment where I actually got a check. My uncle owned this little restaurant, and right next to the restaurant was a market. So he had me in charge of like the register. And since it was a restaurant next door, the dishwashers would come over and they would bring me the utensils, and I would have to dry them really quickly or so they can be repurposed again and reused into the restaurant. And I was just in charge of the, to-go food and stocking and inventory. At 14, it was like just me in this tiny little store.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. Is working with family fun?
No, it was, at that time, I thought my uncle was like the worst ever. He's my godfather as well. And I'm like, he's so mean because he's making me restock these sodas like one way. And I didn't understand it because I literally would just stock these sodas and he would see me. He's like, that's not how you do it. And he'd grab the soda and move faster. You got to pick up the pace. And I'm like, gosh, what does he want me to move so fast? It's so boring. I'm not going to have anything to do. But, I realize now that it was that ethic of getting the job done.
Totally.
Was what he was teaching me.
Totally. I definitely, when I find myself being the person walking fastest, like in my own office, I'm like, there's something wrong here.
Should I slow down?
I don't know. That's so cool. How do you stock soda well? Is there do you have to face it a certain direction? No, Don't shake it.
Don't shake it. Literally lift it up from the top of the bottles and do 2 at a time.
Okay.
Not one, but 2 at a time.
Totally.
It's literally the smallest adjustment that got the work done.
Totally. And it kind of makes things a little bit of a game when you have a way of doing it that's super intentional. That's not just like, I'm doing this thing, when you're like, I'm tweaking out and I'm doing it this one way.
Yeah. And let's see how I can.
It makes it more fun.
How I can get it done faster this time.
Totally. Mm-hmm. What was your job after that? What did you do after
From that point on, I worked at the Mrs. Fields Bakery. So I was at Mrs. Fields Bakery.
Yum.
And I loved it. It was probably my favorite job of all time.
Did you eat the cookie dough?
I ate the cookies, the cookie dough, the brownies, the breads.
Oh my God.
I mean, I pride myself in the sandwich making because people would come see me because we had a little sandwich area and all the coworkers would be like, oh, the employees from the mall or the hospital that was across the street, they'd come over and they'd be like, can you make my sandwich though? Cool. I would specifically be asked to make your sandwich, which made me feel good at 17.
Totally.
And I think that ethic with my uncle, teaching me stuff got me to really become an asset to Mrs. Fields Bakery, and they made me a daytime supervisor. So I was able to get into that position pretty quickly.
How do you feel like you make yourself an asset? Because I feel like that was ingrained into me. So, just looking out for the things that an employer will want or becoming indispensable in some way or another. But do you feel like you've carried that throughout your career?
I definitely do. I felt always like I wanted to be important. I wanted to be reliable, and I enjoyed really feeling accomplished. I really enjoyed feeling like I got the job done and I made my boss happy, or I was able to produce something and I got a good pat on the back. I enjoyed that.
It feels good.
It felt good.
Humans are funny because it feels good after you exercise, but just I still don't want to do it. There's still so many things. Not everything clicks like that, right. Where it's it doesn't feel good to be hungover, but it still happens to me sometimes. We don't always learn from what feels good. So, it's weird how that works. I really wish it did work all the time.
All the time. Yeah. I know.
So I heard you were painfully shy as a child.
Very.
And you were in ESL classes.
Yeah, I was in ESL classes, very shy, did not speak a word of English. My mom had remarried to an American, and he was trying to teach me how to speak English. And my mom tells this story way better than I do, but she was saying how he would tell me this is an orange. And I'm like, no, naranja. And he's like, no, orange. I'm like, no, naranja. And she says that I went to her and was like, he's crazy. He's saying this is orange and it's naranja. And so when she tells that story, I was like, dang, I was really persistent on wanting it to be an orange.
No, this is
You don't know.
Naranja. I can't say it. I can't say it. And so broadcasting, how did you get into broadcasting? At what age? You went to community college?
Yeah, I went to community college. I thought I wanted to be a nurse. So I was at some point, Mrs. Fields Bakery, I ended up meeting some coworkers and I got to work in a hospital across the street.
Oh, cool.
So I was working at a hospital across the street, and I was like, I really enjoy this medical field thing. I really liked helping people. The hospital will, pay for school if I go to nursing classes and maybe, get a job here. So that's what I wanted to do. And I was taking anatomy classes, but there was something inside me throughout my entire childhood, whether it was middle school or high school. I always was involved in a choir or some sort of music. And my mom, one of her ways of her learning how to speak English was through music. She loved listening to the Beatles and Madonna and the Bee Gees. Like that was her thing. So when I saw her and how happy she was with music, it made me happy. And music was always that one thing. So I was going to school for some anatomy classes, and I heard a commercial on the radio talking about, have you ever thought about broadcasting or the entertainment business, or do you love music? This is the school for you. And I immediately called, and I went in, and part of the curriculum was to be in a broadcasting studio, very similar to this studio.
This little closet of ours?
It's a little lovely closet with some old school equipment, though. This is nice equipment, old school equipment. And, it was just go ahead and speak naturally. And, and there was a curriculum to it. And I ended up being really well at it. And my teacher kind of just saw something in me that she pointed out in me, that she's like, you're really good, behind closed doors. Nobody's looking at me. No one can see me, and I can listen to music, and I can be myself, and no one's going to look at me.
And so you get out of school. I'm assuming you graduated?
I graduated a little bit early because I was able to have enough credits to finish early. I had already got hired doing weekends in Vegas.
Oh, wow.
So I was doing weekends in Vegas and Saturdays and Sundays, and I was living in Long Beach. So I would leave Friday night, drive to Vegas, and then do the radio thing Saturday and Sunday, come back Sunday night, go to work Monday, and go to school Monday through Friday. Work and Monday through Friday and go to school Monday through Friday. I did that for like 3 months.
The people that I know who worked through college, I didn't do either. I just kind of flailed. I did a little community college, and I've had a bunch of crappy jobs. But the people who really went for it and had a full work schedule and a full school schedule are just the most hardworking people. It's really fascinating. Anyway,
well, thank you. I'll take it as a compliment.
No, it's cool. So from Vegas, so weekends, so you did that for 3 months.
And then I was like, I'm just going to quit Long Beach. Quit working over here and just go find the same job over there.
Totally.
And just leave Long Beach and just
How did you do that? You must have had tapes of your shows, and then do you submit it? How does it work in that?
Yeah, when I was at the school, I had tapes. I was able to record my show and have tapes and email them tapes of me, mail them tapes of me, or MP3 a file, and that's how I ended up getting an audition for the Vegas gig. Cool. And I was actually at the right place at the right time. I met a radio DJ who's out there, and he actually kind of brought me in and told me about the audition, and we're hiring. So that whole process, who, by the way, is now our morning show guy here in Los Angeles. So our morning show guy is really, I owe him the...
Did you bring him to Power 106, or did he bring you to Power 106?
No, it was a co-sign. I didn't bring him, but I co-signed for him to come to Power 106.
Oh, cool.
For sure. So I was able to return the favor.
That's so nice. You poached him. Cool. And so did you move to San Diego?
After Vegas, I was there for about 2 years, and then I moved into Mexico.
Oh, wow.
And I did radio in Mexico for about 8 months. I was completely broke, had no money. The radio station was tanking. Oh, no. It was like a bilingual station, Spanish and English hip hop station. So they were barely paying us, making $300 every 2 weeks. And then sometimes they couldn't even afford to pay us that. And my rent was $320 a month. So I'm like, what am I going to do? Yeah. I have no money.
Yeah.
And I was very, very lucky to have someone approach me about a morning show in San Diego. And so that's when I was like, I'll take the job.
Totally.
So I left there and I did mornings in San Diego.
We're going to take a quick break with a note from one of our sponsors. I'll be right back. Stop and think about how your finances look right now. I'm sorry to bum you out while you're enjoying this podcast, but that's why you're here. Maybe you've been living paycheck to paycheck. Maybe you've been saving up for a house or considering retirement. And I don't know, maybe just think a little further. What will your bank account look like 10 years from now? I don't know. I can't even answer that question. Money Mind, a new podcast from Prudential, is here to help you make the financial decisions that are best for you, for now, and for the future. In each episode, host Faith Sally interviews a variety of finance experts that will break down the best financial planning options for every stage of your life. Get the most out of Money Mind by tailoring your listening experience. So choose your own adventure. Go to slate.com/moneymind, answer the questions provided, and you'll be directed to the Money Mind episode that is most relevant to you. Download and subscribe to Money Mind wherever you find your podcasts, or get a custom version of Money Mind that best fits your current stage of life when you go to slate.com/moneymind. The one thing I've left out, just because this is a huge part of like your girl boss story, is that you adopted 6 children at some point in this story, and I want to place this at the right point in the story. And I don't know when that happened. Did you move to Mexico with them? Did you adopt one at a time? I just want to know, because that's like double whammy. Is like
it's
pulling
like
yourself
surprise
up career-wise the way you have,
You're
but
like,
also
okay.
you did find a way to provide for other people. So you're like not a nurse, but you did,
care for other people.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's like this whole thing, like, yeah, that's great. You made it into radio. You have this great story, but also I adopted 6 kids along the way.
Oh my God.
So
yeah.
It was a crazy family situation.
Yeah.
When I was in Vegas, and I was like, okay, I'm in Vegas. I'm doing radio. Then I heard of this, what was happening at home. My sister and the father of the children got into a domestic dispute, and the children got taken away. Simple as that. They got put in the custody, and the father and the mom both went to jail, and they couldn't get it out. They couldn't get their lives together. And I was like, well, I got to do something. Like, I'm just not going to let my family just fall apart. So my mother and I had purchased a home together in Vegas.
Oh, wow.
And, since I was a first time buyer, I had a really good chances at reselling it for profit. So we sold the house, and we used that money to hire an attorney. And we hired an attorney, and, the lawyer looked at me like, you're kind of crazy. You're young. Mm-hmm. You're trying to take these kids out of foster care, and you're like early 20s. You got a 50-50 chance. What are you thinking? And I'm just like, yeah, that's pretty much it. So where do I sign? Let's do this, Cool. And, my goal was, all right, my lawyer's going to handle all the paperwork and trying to figure out what she's got to do. What I got to focus on is getting back to California. Mm-hmm. So how do I get back to California? Does that mean taking a job in Mexico because I'm a little bit closer to another border of California? Fine, that's what I'm doing, in hopes of getting a job in San Diego, in hopes of climbing my little ladder up to Los Angeles. That was my goal.
Amazing.
So that's what it took for me to do that.
Totally. And so did you adopt all the kids at the same time?
Yeah. So when I was in San Diego doing mornings, I would leave there about noon, about 11 o'clock, and I would drive up to Orange County for like 2 o'clock hearing. This was occasionally throughout the months. And then finally, I was pleading my case, pleading my case to step up and be a foster mother to these children, and then a guardian and eventually adoptive mother. But I had to plead my case.
How old were they all?
The youngest at that time was 4, and the oldest was 11.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's it like bringing 6 kids home and being like, okay, today I'm a mom of 6 kids?
Yeah.
Like, that's going to be like, what's that adjustment period? Like, where do they sleep? Like, that is wild.
Yeah. I ended up finding a little town home with like a 3-bedroom little townhome. Cool. And I had 2 empty rooms with 2 bunk beds in it, and like a little 3 beds in each. Yeah. Just kind of waiting. And living in this little townhome, kind of waiting, borrowed money from people to just try to even get into that location and just try to have something to show the judge that you can count on me. Mm-hmm. And I took parenting classes.
Oh, wow.
I took all kinds of classes just to prove that I was dependable and I can be, in charge of taking care of 6 kids.
That's so cool.
So I did everything that I could without the judge asking. I just did it. I was like, this is my goal. What do I need to get there to do that? Yeah. And when I got custody of all 6 kids, it was incredible. It was like, I did it. They all came home with me.
Yeah.
And it was like the craziest thing ever. Wow. And it's funny because you remember the show ABC's Nanny 911?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I swear, I promise you. But I used to look on their website, and they had like parenting tips.
Oh, yeah.
And I would use those parenting tips
totally
to incorporate in my life with the kids.
Yeah.
that saved me. Like,
I'm sure.
It was like, okay, I don't want to take another parenting class because I have what I need, but these are some pretty creative parenting tips. And so I took that, and that's kind of like what helped me along the way.
With 6 kids, one's going to be like unhappy at any given moment.
Oh, girl.
Or like, I mean, right?
Oh,
Like,
girl.
You can't, it's like, it's one thing if you're like, a couple and it's like, okay, they're doing great right now. But like 6, there's probably just the odds are that something is going wrong at any given time, right?
At any given time.
Yeah.
Can you imagine my household when they were sick? Oh my gosh. I was running through one bedroom, through the other bedroom, making sure one wasn't getting, throw up in her hair, and the other one was like not puking in his, bedroom or anything like that. So it was just insane, and trying to manage all of that, and at the same time being at work at like 5 a.m.
Wow.
to get it done for the morning show.
How did you pull this off financially?
Well, I was able to get adoption assistance from the government. They have this program called Adoptions Assistance Program, and it was for families specifically who wanted to adopt but couldn't have the finances too, which was perfect for my case. And that was like the really great thing that our governor at the time, Arnold Schwarzenegger, signed off on. He really wanted to give families a chance to reunify with other members, and they didn't have the finances. So adoptions assistance came into place. I was able to have that, plus my little salary that I was making at the radio station, and then like little side hosting gigs that I would do. And being part of the radio station, you get perks of like movie screening passes or like DVDs to bring home to the kids, and we'd make movie night at the house because I had like the newest DVDs that just came out.
Cool. I feel like I'm like watching Rocky like jump rope in the rain like at midnight or something. Like, at what point did you find yourself back in Los Angeles where you had dreamt of being for so long?
A friend of mine was working there already as an imaging director. His name's Justin Credible, who's also our 7 to midnight guy on the radio station. So he was working there, and he was like, hey, I know you've been trying to get to Los Angeles. And I said, yeah, I've actually set up a couple of interviews. I'm going to go try for this new station in Los Angeles. It's a bilingual station. I want to go try there. The station that I was working for was a sister station to Kiss FM here, also in Los Angeles. They're iHeartMedia. So they were like possibilities of maybe being able to move. And he was like, before you do all that, just send me a tape of yours so I can submit it to our program director, and let's see what happens. All right, cool. So I did that, not thinking of anything. I was like, there's no way. I've only been in radio for like 4 years. People are in this business for 10 years and can't even crack a Los Angeles radio. So how the heck am I going to get into the radio? And sure enough, I was called in for an interview at like 7 a.m. on a Saturday morning. I drove from San Diego to the Marriott right next to LAX to meet them for breakfast before they were heading out on a flight. I met with my program director and the general manager, and we just sat for an hour, 2-hour interview.
And how long ago was that?
That was in 2006. Yeah, in February
So you've
2006.
been with Power 106 for
10 years. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
We'll be right back, taking a quick break for our sponsors. Today's episode of Girl Boss Radio is also sponsored by ShipStation. ShipStation is a web-based software designed to help e-commerce retailers process, fulfill, and ship their orders from all the most popular marketplaces and shopping carts using all the top carriers. Whether you're selling on eBay, Amazon, Etsy, Shopify, or your own website, it is so exciting to watch orders roll in. I remember those early days. I miss them very dearly. But what I don't miss is shipping them out when you are the solo act, because you have a lot to do and you need to get these orders out quickly to keep your customers happy. That is why you need ShipStation.com. ShipStation is the #1 choice of online sellers. ShipStation automatically imports your orders into one easy-to-use interface, and they'll help you choose the right carrier so you can get the lowest rate for every package. With ShipStation, you can easily create shipping labels for all the top carriers, including UPS, FedEx, and USPS, right from your computer. You can even manage, ship, and track your orders on the go from your smartphone or tablet with the ShipStation mobile app. I think when I was doing this, I had like a BlackBerry or something. None of this was happening. I am envious of you, and I'm envious that you get to use ShipStation. So right now, you can try ShipStation free for 30 days and get an additional month free only if you use my exclusive offer code GIRLBOSS. Don't wait, go to ShipStation.com, and before you do anything else, click on the microphone at the top of the homepage and type in Girl Boss. That's shipstation.com, enter Girl Boss. And so, what was it like stepping into a market like Los Angeles? Was it scary? And then how have things changed as you've gotten used to being a mother and, probably have been more capable of providing for a family,
Man, I was scared out of my mind coming to Power 106. Yeah. Scared out of my mind.
You're like, they're on to me.
Yeah, I'm a fraud.
Yeah,
I don't know what I'm doing. I was just kidding. Just kidding. Don't know what's going on anymore. And I was so scared. I remember sitting in my room crying, thinking, what am I going to do? Like, this is for real. And there was this book. Have you ever read this book called Who Moved My Cheese?
I haven't, but when I worked at Borders Books, it was very popular.
Okay, so
I know what the cover looks like.
Okay, there's this chapter in the book, and I highly recommend it for anybody who's actually looking to, get out of the rat race, because that's what it's all about. And I read this chapter which said, what would you do if you weren't afraid? What if you're afraid of the dark? But what if you weren't afraid of the dark? What would you do? You would probably step into a dark room if you weren't afraid. So it was like this whole thing about what would you do if you weren't afraid? Would you take that risk? You take that chance? And it was a simple question.
That's a really good question.
It's just a simple question. That's a great question.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it for myself. Right? I'm like, oh my God.
What would I do? What if I wasn't afraid? What would you do?
What I would do makes me afraid.
Yeah. No, that's afraid.
No. Sorry, Mom. Okay.
No, it's exactly that, though. And that's what I went, and I just went for it. And when I got to Power, you got all these guys around you. And I remember growing through my phases of being a personality. There was men who were constantly saying, she's not going to make it. What? You have no idea what you're doing. I came from working in customer service of hospital care and fast food and things like that. All of a sudden I'm in the music industry. I don't have a lick of experience.
There's a lot of egos, right?
So many egos, because there's these cool DJs, and all these DJs are cool, and they're buddies with all these stars. And here I am, I'm a mom of 6 kids, and that's just.
How do you gain respect without being like an asshole back?
You know what? I'm still trying to figure out how I did it. Even if I haven't,
just do a good job.
Yeah,
right?
I think I was just killing them with kindness. I really just was. I think the mom instincts kind of kicked in too, because there were times where I'm like, if I have to speak to you like a kid, I'm going to. But you're not going to talk to me like that. That's just not how it's going to happen.
Okay, cool.
So it was like kind of.
You guys can't see her, but she's like moving her hand around like no, and like shaking her head. I'm already scared. I'm a little.
Listen,
I'm just like I take you seriously.
It's just. I think all moms can relate when they have kids. Like nothing should be more scarier than having.
That's
kids.
Cool. I hope I get to develop that quality at some point.
But you know what we all do? We all have that.
Totally.
We all have that nature. You grew a business ground up. You obviously had this fearless. It's inside us. You just have to tap into it. And I just tapped into that. And I was able to be like, my kid is at home sick. I don't really have time to deal with your ego at this moment. So
totally.
What do you need? How can I help you?
Yeah.
And it was just that. And that's how simple it was. And
people don't know what to say.
Some of the DJs that I was working with, we would butt heads, but now we're like good friends.
Totally.
So we came.
You have to like slay the dragon sometimes.
Yeah.
It's like, and then it's just like whatever. I don't have enough pride to like dislike you. I just like want to get my shit done.
Yeah, I'm tired. I don't really have.
And actually, I'm kind of entertained by you. And at a certain point, you're just it's like, don't take things personally.
Yeah,
it's
don't
like,
take.
Okay, I get it. You're a really insecure guy.
Right. Duly noted. Now, how can we get this job done?
I'm not dating you.
Right. Sophia, I feel like we relate.
I know. Yeah.
With that.
Oh my God. You've had to make so many difficult choices, and that's something that everyone in their 20s, should only hope to make, because that means you're probably doing the right thing. What advice do you have just about challenges in life and making hard decisions for our listeners?
I wish I could, I have some sort of like cool answer to that. But I think for me, what has always worked has been what was the best interest for my family and myself. Making those choices that I do with good intentions. Every decision I make, it's with good intentions. It's not being diva-like. It's not being like selfish of any sort. It's really the good intentions of the better of myself and my family.
Totally.
So whether that means me having to take a loss on a paycheck for that week because my family needs me, that's what I was going to do. Whether it was my family's okay at home, now I've got to go leave my house at 10 p.m. at night to go make this, extra money, that's what I was going to do. It was really a game of chess every single day and picking and choosing the battles and what was worth the fight and what wasn't worth the fight. But my family was my big reason of fighting, period. And any kind of challenge, facing any kind of challenge. Yeah. And there was a lot of them.
What's good for the goose is usually good for the gander, as long as you're not like being super selfish, right?
Right.
It's like, I want to do what's right to protect myself within reason and do things that I enjoy, but also make sure that I'm providing for my future and the future of like people that I may not have even met yet.
Yeah, and I'm not going to like step over anybody's
children
toes.
that I don't even know I'm going to adopt.
Yeah. It's like in it for everybody. There's no need to step in anybody's toes or step in anybody's lane or anything like that. Like, I just don't believe in that. I work in one way. My way is to work with like true, genuine, authentic self and be your authentic self.
What if you're having a bad day though? Like, how do you, it's like your voice, there's moments where I'm like, I'm distracted, I need to leave this room, or like there's other stuff going on. Like, how do I interview somebody when like there's 1,000 things running through my head? And you've been doing this for 10 years in LA, but
10 years,
your whole life.
14, yeah.
14 years. How do you put out of your head that like your kid's sick or your car's busted or the shit's about to hit the fan and like sound happy and because we all have to do it, whether it's into a microphone or at work.
Yeah. I think with my life, music was my escape. Like, my job really is my escape. It was allowing me to be who I am, and it was allowing me to be Yesi Ortiz. So I was Jessica all the time, but when I was in the studio, when I'm in the studio, I'm Yesi Ortiz, and it's allowing me, like, my space. It's my space, my sacred space to be who I want. And sometimes when I'm angry and I'm really upset, and I like have this moment of like, and I put my headphones on, I'm like, I'm just gonna show the world who I am. Because right now
you're like wearing a cape and your arms are outstretched right now, and I'm like, damn.
I'm gonna just be fearless. Sorry, I don't
know. It's so cool. So cool.
I just get so excited because I really feel like that's just how a woman should be. Like, it should be your sacred time to be fearless, and just if you got that aggression, if you got that anger, and you're going through your drama, and I understand that drama, and I get that drama. I've got my kids.
I believe you.
You know what I mean? I've got my kids. It's like you take that energy and you really pour it back into love, into yourself, and you give it all you got. Like,
that's so cool.
Forget it. What are we gonna do? What are you gonna do?
It's like metaphysical. It's like a very spiritual, thing in a lot of ways. It's just like, all right, the forest's on fire, but I'm gonna plant a garden, right?
Yeah, there it is. That's exactly that. Yeah. That's great metaphor. I like that.
We're going to take another quick break with a note from our sponsors. Tracker. I think I just made up a new song for Tracker. We all lose stuff. I'm probably losing my mind right now. But Tracker makes losing things, maybe not your mind, a thing of the past. It's a coin-sized device that locates misplaced keys, wallets, bags, computers, anything in seconds. Just pair a tracker to your smartphone, attach it to anything, your dog, and find its precise location with the tap of a button. It's so easy. Do you lose your phone again? Press the button on Tracker and your phone rings even when it's on silent. With over 1.5 million devices, Tracker has the largest crowd GPS network in the world, so your lost item shows up on a map even if it's miles away. And you, my Girl Boss Radio listener, you get a special discount of 30% off your entire order. Go to The Tracker, spelled TheTracker.com, and enter promo code GirlBoss. The hardest thing you'll ever have to do is find the website. Go to thetracker.com right now and enter promo code GirlBoss for 30% off your entire order. Again, that's thetracker.com, promo code GirlBoss. Okay, so what's your routine? You wake up in the morning.
Yeah.
What?
Drive the kids to school. What? You open your eyes now. What?
Yeah. What happens? Who's jumping on you?
Well, the good thing is now the children are older.
Okay.
So
How
I only
young
have
is the oldest one now?
So the youngest one is 16. Wow. Yeah, 16.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What is it like having a 16-year-old?
Oh, girl. That's a whole other show.
Oh my God.
That's a whole other show. 16 teenagers are the worst.
Oh, we're not
my
listening.
teenagers. Well, my teenagers. But, my youngest is 16 and 17. They're great kids. I'm just joking, Avi. But they're really great kids. My older kids have gone off and do their own thing now. And
is it terrifying to like just be like,
to let go?
Oh my God.
Yeah, it is very terrifying because it's like, what are you doing? You're making all the wrong mistakes.
Scare the shit out of you.
Oh my gosh. Now you got opinions and you're talking back to me. You're 22.
Who's
Stop
that girl? Get her out of here.
Yeah. Oh, you know how many girls I had to kick out of the house?
Birth control. Jesus.
Yeah.
I bet you've had a lot of
Angel,
conversations
yeah, my
about
oldest
birth control.
son was 19 and he was like sneaking in the girl. I'm like, what are you doing sneaking in the girl? Your brothers and sisters are in this room.
19 and living at home, you should be looking. Jesus. Go get a fucking apartment.
Yeah. I remember waking up the girl. This is a true story. I woke up the girl. I'm like, excuse me. Hi. Do I know you? And she was like, no. I'm like, do you know me? She was like, no. I'm like, this is my home.
Yeah.
I don't know your name and you don't know my name.
Yeah.
And you need to go.
Bye.
Yeah. And she was like, can you imagine? The story
It's
that
terrifying.
Yesi Ortiz just woke me up. Like,
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Amazing. Are any of your kids into music?
Yeah, actually, the two younger ones, they love music. Just last night, we checked out a garage band, which is really cool, and I brought them with me, and they were giving all kinds of feedback, and yeah, we had a great time.
I totally interrupted you, though. You wake up, your eyes open.
Oh, yeah.
And there aren't children jumping on you, but what's
still,
your routine like?
Yeah, they're still driving to school. I still got to drive them to school, and I drive them to school, and I come back, take the dogs out, and get myself ready to go to work. Before, it was a complete different story. You know, the kids were younger and in high school and in middle school, and there was 6 of them, and you don't even know how much money I spent at Costco and what laundry days were like. Laundry days were like 20 loads.
Oh my God.
We would take over the entire laundromat.
Just like go to a lake.
Yeah, and then the next morning, it's like back on the air on the radios, Jennifer Lopez is coming in. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like complete
Hannah Montana.
different stories.
Yeah.
It was completely different.
Wow.
But now it's just I go in at work and I start my day, and I'm also the assistant music director at Power 106. So we're in music meetings every other week, and we go over music and we discuss what's going to be played and how, and record labels. And
what are you excited about right now? What are you listening to?
I was just telling her that we went to go see Chance the Rapper.
Oh, cool!
On Saturday
I heard about
night,
that.
And it was awesome.
He seems so charming. I saw him at the VMAs red carpet one. He was wearing a really cool like onesie.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw him on TV. Okay. But he was like just I don't know. He's like very charming.
He's very sweet. We met him on Saturday, and he came, and he was
like
just
freaking out.
My daughter was, my son was so lazy he didn't want to get out of bed, but now he's kicking himself in the butt because he didn't go, because he really wanted to meet Chance the Rapper, his favorite rapper. But my daughter was like really geeked to meet him, and he's so nice.
Yeah, he seems
so
so
nice.
nice. Like
So
good,
genuine.
He had good parents.
Yeah, so nice.
If you could brunch with any girl boss, who would it be?
Oh my gosh, not to kiss butt or anything, but it would be you and Oprah.
Oh, cool. Oh,
Yeah.
man. My name in that sentence is like,
Yeah,
thank
it'd
you
be
very
you
much.
and Oprah for sure.
Cool.
Yeah,
Maybe we can all get together. I'd like to have brunch with Oprah,
you have
too.
a call?
Yeah.
I feel like you got a closer
We
plug
can do it
than
at the
I
White House or something. I don't know.
Michelle, get
Insane.
Michelle Obama on
Okay.
the phone. That's an easy call for us.
Cool.
Right, major. No, I really do admire
cool.
that. And
We should do brunch.
She's RIP'd now, but Lucille Ball would be
Oh,
amazing.
man.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. That would be my ideal dream for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, that can never happen, but in my dreams it will.
Maybe she'll come to you in your dreams.
Yeah.
You think about her enough that she will. And then I ask this of all of our guests, and we read our listeners' girl boss moments out on this podcast, with just a nice time to take to remind yourself of the things that you're doing for yourself or have achieved in the last week. That's what a girl boss moment is. What was your girl boss moment in the last week, Yesi?
Oh my God, it was just actually this morning. My girl boss moment was a sales client was trying to cheat me from paying me my talent fee, and I had to like step up and say, this is what I've done in the last 8 months for this client, and I'm humbly requesting a talent fee for this.
You have to deal with these people directly?
Yeah, well, with our sales department at the station. Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
someone in your own station.
Yeah. And that's tough to do because you have to work with them, and I don't have like someone to speak for me on my behalf, and so I got to do that myself.
Do any of you guys have agents or anything?
No, I don't have any agents.
Yeah.
I mean, I have my manager Melissa, but she deals with things outside of the station.
Okay.
But anything that comes through the radio station and becoming a music director and having like this boss type title,
Yeah.
You have to deal with it head on, and you got to be the talent. So you have to walk a thin line.
You don't want to be known as an asshole because you need to.
Right, because you need still.
Sucks.
But it's still like I felt proud of myself because like, look, this is what I've done, and who knows what the result's going to be. But I was really proud of myself this morning because.
In the grand scheme of things, it sounds to me like it's in everyone's interest to keep Yesi happy. So, especially after a decade. So. That's my advice to you, sales director.
I love them, but at the same time, it's one of those family situations. It's like, we're family, so look out for me.
Totally.
Or you can't use the word family and not look out for me. Let's do this right. Yeah. Come on, bruh.
Totally.
Let's do this right.
Was that in your email? Yeah. Cool. Yesi, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Please tell our listeners where we can find you.
I'm at Yesi Ortiz on Twitter, YesiOrtiz.com, and Hey Yesi Ortiz on Instagram. So.
Awesome. And when are you on Power 106 if people are in LA?
Yeah, I'm on Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Power 106.
Great slot.
Yeah, Monday through Friday, 10 to 3. Occasionally, I'll be on the talk as a top talker. They have a recurring guest on there, which is really cool.
Cool.
And I just recently did my little guest appearance on Love and Hip Hop Hollywood that I'm sure you'll see reruns on.
I'll watch it. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Really
this was a lot of fun.
Yeah. And now for some girl boss moments. Girl boss moments are a time in your week when you feel like you're in control of your life. That could mean getting a promotion, finishing your PhD, or having some very much needed alone time. Whatever it is to you, you can send in your girl boss moments by using the hashtag girlbossmoment on Twitter or Instagram. We collect them, we read them on the podcast, and each week we actually profile on girlboss.com a different woman's girl boss moment and expound upon her awesome experience. So let's get to it. Devin Noel Van Wright says, when your boss/dad never wrote a business plan for his company, so you write it for him. Oh my God, amazing. Jennifer Cormier says, started saving today, setting up for retirement one day at a time. Donna Castelblanco says, changed my alarm titles from phrases like wake up fool to these awesome sayings. Hashtag girl boss moment. Melissa McLay says, it's never too late for wine on a Sunday night when you are your own boss. Yeah, it really is never too late for wine. Paige Fetter says, I'm starting my new day job on Monday and I have 3 days of freelance work this weekend. That's a lot of work. That's amazing. And my girl boss moment, God, what isn't a girl boss moment lately? I mean, Brangelina, like, my whole world has been turned upside down. I haven't really talked about this much, but I got a divorce a couple months ago, and I'm still processing it, but I'm also really happy and relieved and grateful that homeboy bailed. So, yeah, it's been a really wild couple months, and, now becoming a 2-time author, hopefully by the time this airs, maybe a best-selling author. I'll be crying if I listen to this, and I'm not, but, you can't always win all the time. We'll see. No, if you go buy the book right now, I'll be having a girl boss moment for the rest of my life. So, anyway, my girl boss moment, I guess, is just taking things day by day, which I feel like is always my girl boss moment, but I feel like I'm unlearning so many things that I thought I knew, things I've written into Girl Boss, things I wrote into Nasty Galaxy, things that are still true, but not always true. Things can be true, but not true all the time. And I think that's the subtlety that we unfortunately and so beautifully get to experience as we get older every day, which I'm grateful for. And if you guys follow me on social media, I'm just like busting out on all kinds of not too emotional but semi-philosophical and usually entertaining things. So Instagram is my mode of choice. Anyway, thanks for hanging in there with me, guys. Well, that's it. That's another episode of Girl Boss Radio. Thank you for joining me. And thank you, Shara Morris, our producer, who's sitting with me right now, shoving a microphone in my face. Thanks also to Odelia Rubin, Kristen Meinzer, Laura Mayer, and Andy Bowers at Panoply. You guys, to stay in touch with all things Girl Boss, please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Girl Boss. You can sign up for our newsletter, Girl Boss Diary, which goes out once a week and is getting better by the week, by going to girlboss.com. And you can follow me, Sophia Amoruso. That's Amoruso, and Sophia with a PH. Pretty much anywhere social media is found. I hope Girl Boss Radio helps you to achieve your goals, or at the very least, maybe helps you set some. And if you like this podcast, please subscribe in iTunes and share your love on social media. It means a lot. Thanks also to the band Phases for our theme song, and I think we're going to have to record another interstitial jam. I'm Sophia Amoruso. Thanks, guys. I love you.